431 cold leads, £60,200 in potential commission, just sitting there, collecting digital dust inside his CRM. Welcome to this explainer on the Database Reactivation Engine. Today, we are going to dive into the real-world story of a London mortgage broker who had 847 leads in his system. And get this, over half of them had been completely untouched for over 90 days. We're going to unpack the exact step-by-step workflow that turned those ignored, forgotten contacts into active, closing revenue. Now, to really wrap our heads around why this is so absolutely crucial, we need to anchor this explainer with a pretty jarring statistic from the EcoSCIR research team: 78%. That's the percentage of leads captured simply by being the very first to respond within 5 minutes. Think about that. For our London broker, his leads weren't necessarily dead, right? They just hadn't been followed up with when market conditions actually changed in their favor. If a lead goes completely cold in your database because you don't have a system to re-engage them at exactly the right time, well, they go straight to your competitors. Speed and persistence are literally everything here. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our 6-part roadmap to fix your CRM pipeline today. 1. The dormant database problem. 2. Database reactivation campaigns explained. 3. The automation engine workflow. 4. High-converting email subject lines. 5. The 9-word SMS script. And finally, 6. From database to asset.
Let's jump right into Section 1, the dormant database problem.
It's kind of the ultimate business dilemma, isn't it? Why are you spending so heavily on new customer acquisition and lead generation ads when your absolute best next customer is probably already hanging out in your CRM? Our London broker was caught in this trap, constantly buying new leads at a higher and higher acquisition cost while completely ignoring that 60 grand in potential commission already in his system, just waiting for the right market conditions. It's an incredibly expensive mistake, and it's one shared by thousands of businesses who simply ignore the people who just weren't ready to buy 3, 6, or 12 months ago. So, according to the development team at GHL Devs, if we pop the hood and look at the anatomy of a typical dormant database, it's usually a complete mess. You'll find duplicate contacts, invalid phone numbers, bounced email addresses, completely ignored former clients, and those consultation inquiries that were literally never followed up on. Cleaning this list is your mandatory first step. Removing duplicates and invalid data massively improves your deliverability rates. For our broker, this cleanup phase was huge. It involved tagging all these old leads by specific metrics, like their loan size and original inquiry date, so they were perfectly organized and primed for highly targeted outreach. Moving right along to Section 2, Database Reactivation Campaigns Explained. So what is it exactly? Well, a database reactivation campaign is a highly structured marketing effort. It leverages automated SMS and email sequences to reconnect with those inactive contacts we just talked about. And according to implementation experts at GHL CRMs and GHL Devs, a properly executed campaign will reliably recover 5 to 10% of those dormant leads, turning them right back into active sales conversations. Think about what that meant for our mortgage broker. A 5 to 10% recovery on his 431 cold leads represents a sudden, massive influx of new deals, and he didn't have to spend a single extra penny on ads to get them. We'll reveal his exact final numbers in just a bit. When we stack buying new leads up against database reactivation, the contrast is pretty staggering. The myth out there is that you need endless new ad spend to grow, but the reality of reactivation is that you're targeting people who already know your brand. They've interacted with you before. Reaching out to past inquiries when, say, a relevant rate change happens makes your outreach feel like valuable, proactive customer service rather than just some cold sales pitch. There's a built-in baseline of trust there that a fresh lead from Facebook or Google simply doesn't have. All right, Section 3. The automation engine workflow. Let's move to and see how this builds, because historically, pulling this off required duct taping together like a dozen different tools. You know the drill. You needed HubSpot for your CRM, ActiveCampaign for emails, Twilio for SMS, Calendly for booking, ClickFunnels for landing pages. It was a nightmare. GoHighLevel actually consolidates all of these into one unified dashboard. Solving this massive tech headache was the absolute key to unlocking our broker's trapped commission. Because everything lives in one single system, automations fire instantly without relying on glitchy third-party integrations. It saves hundreds of dollars a month and, most importantly, stops leads from slipping through the cracks. And this brilliantly illustrates how simple the logic actually is underneath it all. Every automation is built on 3 basic blocks. Step 1 is the trigger. For example, a relevant market rate change hits the CRM. Step 2 is the condition. The system filters those old leads by their loan size and inquiry date. Step 3 is the action, sending out a personalized SMS followed by a rate comparison email if there's no response. If they do reply, the system instantly triggers a consultation booking and fires off preparation instructions and reminders. It's just a really elegant way to power incredibly complex follow-ups while you sleep.
Let's transition into Section 4, high-converting email subject lines. Okay, spotlight on this number right here, 40%. According to data from Be In Touch, and they analyzed over 50,000 mortgage emails sent in the last 12 months, so this is solid data, 40% is the open rate benchmark you should absolutely be aiming for when you have a highly optimized subject line. This massive dataset proves exactly what a successful, data-driven email campaign looks like when it's firing on all cylinders.
Just notice the stark difference in these two approaches. On the left, we've got a super generic, honestly failing subject line, your mortgage quote. It's boring, it completely blends into the inbox. But on the right, we have an optimized, highly specific one, 847 savings on your refi math. Be Touch's data shows that specific anchored subject lines, like the one on the right, actually outperform generic ones by 2 to 3 times. Specific dollar amounts literally stop people in their tracks while they're scrolling. Drilling down a bit further into Be In Touch's data, we find 5 incredibly consistent data-backed patterns for winning subject lines. Number 1, front-load specific numbers. Put them right at the start. Number 2, name the borrower or the specific scenario. Personalization alone boosts open rates by 15 to 25%. 3, use a question format to create a little curiosity gap. 4, use lowercase or sentence case. Definitely not title case, and absolutely no all caps because that just triggers spam filters. And finally, keep it under 50 characters so it doesn't get chopped off on mobile screens. These are simple tweaks, but they are total game changers for real estate and agency professionals. Moving into Section 5, the 9-word SMS script. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer, beautiful simplicity of the script. This right here is the exact 9-word cold database reactivation template. For a tech agency, it might be about scaling software. For a London broker, it was simply, hey, first name, are you still looking to buy a property this year? That's it. The goal here is absolutely not to deliver some massive sales pitch. It's just a casual, low-friction question that demands a quick yes or no, simply to start a human conversation. But here is where the technical setup becomes absolutely make or break. This is the SMS handoff protocol. You send the 9-word SMS, and the system monitors for a reply. Step 3 is arguably the most important setting in your entire CRM, stop on response. The very second that lead texts back yes, the automated loop must stop instantly, alerting the sales team so a real human can jump in and take over naturally. Actually, scratch that. It's not just important, it's mandatory. When our London broker flipped this specific switch, the tension broke and the responses just instantly started rolling in. Which brings us to our final section, Section 6, from database to asset. Let's look at the actual hard results of implementing this exact system. For our London mortgage broker, out of those 431 completely cold, untouched leads he contacted, he got 89 immediate responses. Those responses turned into 34 booked consultations, which resulted in 11 closed deals, generating £15,400 in direct commission. And remember, this was all from leads he had basically written off and given up on. The ROI of getting these specific workflows running is just absolutely undeniable. So the crucial point we want to leave you with today is this. Is your database just a graveyard of lost leads, slowly gathering digital dust? Or is it an active, powerful revenue engine just waiting to be triggered? Because the leads are already there, the tools are there. That's the difference between a database and an asset. DM me Reactivate